Civilization has been around for a lot longer than you think. Younger Dryas about 12,900 11,600 years ago. Modern humans about 200,000 years ago. First known civilization Mesopotamia about 6,000 years ago. This means that modern humans have been around for 194,000 years and yet only in recent times have they started civilizations. It doesn't make sense. My theory, which is shared with others, is that civilization has been around for much longer than just 6,000 years ago. The Younger Dryas occurred around 12,000 years ago, giving humans time to gather themselves up in that 6,000-year gap before starting a civilization. One site states that human population drastically fell in the Younger Dryas time period and humans barely survived. In one Native American tribe's myth, their story is that they were led up from a cave by a god who wanted to release humans into the world and have them explore it. There is a similar myth in the Incan civilization too. How do you think humans survived at all when apparently asteroids fell from the sky all around the world in the Younger Dryas time period? They'd have to be underground. Right? Then after all the aftermath, they would come up and restart civilization. And it just so happens that humans came to the Americas during the Younger Dryas, or right after. In their myth it said that the god wanted them to explore the world, giving another reason for the migration of humans to the Americas other than their prey going there too. This means that there was most definitely civilization before just 6,000 years ago. Also, civilization tends to develop along the coasts. We now know that the sea level rose by hundreds of feet after the Younger Dryas, so most if not all of the remains would be located underwater now. Underwater archaeology is mostly focused on shipwrecks, and it is also extremely difficult to explore and search under the water. So most of the evidence of these ancient precursor civilizations is probably waiting to be found under the water. A subject that shows how intractable archaeologists can be is the Sphinx. They found it was carved from the bedrock. No problems there. The issue is the rocks show water erosion. Geologists have zero issues saying this, as water and wind erosion look completely different. The archaeologists, however, say no, because that would mean the Sphinx is over 10,000 years old. For some reason they cling to the 6,000-year mark, and I can't figure out why. Tempe Göbekli is another prime example. Massive structure. Complex. Over 11,000 years old. In olden times there was a Discovery Channel show called Life After Humans. It was all about what would happen to all of our stuff if we all just died. It was a neat show for me. Basically everything we have ever made would be gone or unrecognizable after about 5-8K years. We are a blip in time for the planet. There was also a show based on driving across Australia as if traveling through time. Civilization was only a few miles. Humans didn't make it out of the town they started in. There were definitely civilizations prior to the invention of writing. But unfortunately, they didn't have the ability to leave records behind that we can find. So we don't have a great idea of what they thought and what they knew about. We need more posts like this on here. Upvoted. These are the posts this sub is best for. People, as we have generously come to use the term in a broad sense of cultures and races and species, have probably been coexisting in a loosely amalgamated fluctuation between tribes of Stone Age, hunter-gatherers and medieval-era castles and villages for the better part of 1 million years. Or maybe that myth is describing ancient WMDs used during that time period. Perhaps civilization is a lot older and was a lot more advanced before nuking themselves back to the Stone Age. Dunno about conspiracy, but it's definitely one of my favorite topics. Civilization? Yeah. Probably since like 33,000 years ago. With some interruptions along the way to now. The reason we think this timeline is correct is because of archaeology. Theories are perfectly fine, but we generally don't just believe them without evidence that supports them. When we find new evidence like Denisovan fossils or cave paintings, we make changes to our theories if there are discrepancies. Graham Hancock, is that you? I am aware that civilization has been around for a long time because we studied it in the subject of social studies. Poles flip faster than we thought. No protection from space cataclysm. Reset with the few survivors. They'll pass down stories. And then eventually it happens again and again. Gotta be careful when the story is told by only one remembering, or translated and then translated again with made-up words and the wrong word is taken as the word. Also need to be careful when looking at the stories told in glyphs. A snake might mean something completely different, like an island for example. Somehow we ended up with a story about salvation. Yes. The entire history of civilization needs to be rewritten, but no archaeologist wants to take on the establishment. Graham Hancock tried but got destroyed by the same people. This means that modern humans have been around for 194,000 years, and yet only in recent times have they started civilizations. You are clueless, LMAO. Humans lived as hunter-gatherers from 200,000 years ago until 10,000 years ago, where the Neolithic era took over agricultural. Maybe turn off sensationalists like Hancock and spend some time with actual scientific literature. Quick question: who shared my post? Wrong. I mean, define civilization. People are just fine living a nomadic, hunter-gatherer lifestyle. And in fact in some places still do. It's likely gathering to build cities was just a novel idea that gained in popularity a few thousand years ago. I believe Tartaria was just before us, and that's where most of our technology originated from. Without religion to hold science back, we would have been far and beyond more advanced than our current tech. Jeebus Daddy blowed into the sand and made creation only about 6,000 years ago. Silly. S. The truth is evolution is a hoax and mankind existed on Earth even hundreds of millions of years ago. Finds like the William Meister footprint and the Haysborough Britain footprints document this. Atlantis documents it, as does the Saturn conspiracy. Yet lemmings continue to believe what the liars at NASA tell them. And little school children are indoctrinated instead of educated. Not much to do with anything but after the aftermath is, well, an interesting phrase. It does seem unlikely that humans with all their frailty didn't just die off as soon as they evolved into Homo sapiens. Aliens. Updiddly doot. Someone just learned about Graham Hancock. Asteroids fell from the sky. Really? Like a really lot of asteroids? Well, maybe that's how we invented fire ROFL.